Hello and welcome. My name is Stacy Fletcher. So excited to have you guys here. Today we are going to talk about goals. And I know that in the midst of this pandemic and so many other things going on around it, it can be really easy to feel like it's pointless to even set a goal in the first place and then really struggle with continuing to pursue after that goal as things continue to change around you. And so I wanted to talk about that, um, and really focus in on some ways to actually continue pursuing goals and continue to be motivated around them. I worked with a couple athletes this week, and both of them really talked about having a hard time with the grind. You know what I mean by the grind? That day-to-day work that's not the part that feels exciting. And so we were specifically talking about it with the mindset work, but then that also seemed to apply to like strength and conditioning and just doing that like day in, day out, kind of boring things that don't feel as exciting or as accomplished, like that you accomplished as much when you're doing kind of the work of the grind. And so, one of the things that we really talked about was getting back to the compelling reason of why you're going after your goal in the first place. So, one athlete has a goal of eventually going pro, and so he had made some goals for this time of pandemic um, around some physical training, running, and physical training, but also around doing this mental training work to really help him in that. And he was really struggling to just kind of do the daily work. He had stopped running each day. He had stopped doing any of the assignments that we do um, in our membership program. And then the same thing happened with another athlete. And so I just kind of felt like, yeah, that makes sense right now, because right now, even just believing in your goal can feel really difficult, much less like believing in the grind, the work of the grind being necessary and seeing it in light of the whole of that goal. And so, one of the things, so I want to start with talking about believing in goals and setting goals in the midst of uncertainty. Before the pandemic, we it was easier to tell ourselves that life was predictable. It was easier to believe that we knew what was going to happen next year, beyond that. And so when we set goals, we believed that we knew the context in which we were setting that goal for. If you're an Olympian setting the goal, like we believed, like I know when the Olympics is, the date is set, the place is set. I know the procedures for picking the team. This is something I've been working for my whole life. I know exactly what that's going to look like. And the same thing for, lower level competition. I know when nationals is, I know when state is, I know when regionals are, I know when deadlines for college applications are in. Like I know all of the things. And so therefore, like I can plan this goal. And a lot of those things were predictable. And so it was easier to feel like you knew the future. But if this teaches us anything, it's that the future was never certain. We always, always, always created goals in the midst of uncertainty. We never actually knew what the future was going to hold. So we never actually knew when we were setting our goals what the context would be in carrying that goal out. We just thought that we did. And this is no different. You're just more aware that you don't know the future now. But the same process holds. Setting your goals is a gift to your future self. When you set your goals, you're actually saying, this is the life I want to create. Like, this is the life I want to live in the future. I want to go to state. I want to win state. I want to become a pro athlete. If you're not an athlete, maybe you're a parent. I had goals around, like, I want a future in which. Setting a goal is looking into your desires and determining the future that you want to create. And when you choose not to set goals because you think things are uncertain, then you're not doing anything active to move towards the life you want to live and the future you want to create. And so setting goals is a gift for that future self. It's a gift for where you want to be and the life that you want to lead. And so having that direction, knowing where you're going, is really important, even though the surroundings of where you go may change. You know, you set your course and you don't know what's going to happen on the journey, but you sure know where you're going to go and what you're trying to create and what you're trying to do. And so the goal can remain the same even when everything else around it changes. So one of the things that's helpful, so that's around setting your goal. And then when you look at believing your goal, so much of our mental time is spent in doubt, right? Anxiety, what ifs, worry, doubt. We spend so much time there. I'm so guilty of it. I have been in that place, especially the last couple of months. But when we spend so much time in doubt, we're not going to be able to move to a place in which we spend no time in doubt and we're only looking at the belief. But a good step is to give equal airtime. So as much time as you're spending thinking about how that goal might not come true, you might not get it, worrying about all of the uncertainties around it, worrying about the how, worrying about the if, give that same amount of airtime to believing it will happen. And let yourself go in the same way that you go there with worry, go there with belief. So in worry, you don't only just go, oh, what if I don't make it? What if it doesn't happen? You worry about all the things. You imagine all the things with it. And then this is going to happen. And then this is going to happen. And if I don't do this, then that's going to happen. And then my life is going to be terrible and horrible. And everything's going to go wrong. I'm gonna, for parents out there, I'm gonna lose my job, and then we're gonna lose the house, and then we're gonna be homeless, and like we go there. We fully invest in this idea that the goal isn't gonna happen, and then all of the things that are going to be true when that goal doesn't happen, or that are going to be obstacles to getting there. Give yourself equal airtime on the other side. Imagine all the things that are going to be true when you reach that goal. Get detailed. Go into it the same way that you're going into the worry. Go into it. What's life going to be like? What are you going to be like? What opportunities are you going to have? What things are you going to believe? What experiences might you get to enjoy? What feelings might you have? What are all the things that are going to happen? And what are all the things that are going to happen along the way? Like, even if you didn't reach the goal, though, you're going back to where, bring it back. Even if, like, okay, so you've created, if you're an athlete and you're going after a huge goal, you've created tremendous amount of skill. You've created emotional and mental and physical health for yourself. You do strength and conditioning in order to get your physical skill where you want it to be. And so even if you didn't create your goal, you're strong and you're healthy and you're flexible and you're all of the things, right? Like, what are all the things that are going to happen along the way to your goal that are amazing and wonderful in of their own right? What are all the strategies that you're going to do? And what's it going to be like to experience those? Like, if your overall goal is this huge one, like going to the Olympics, like, what's it going to be like when you win state? What's it going to be like when you win nationals? What's it going to be like when you get signed on to that college team? What's it going to be like when all the things, all the steps along the way? What's it going to be like when you get those steps? And give yourself equal airtime, and then pick one of those that's really motivating, and make it the thing that you bring your brain back to. Every time your brain's like, no, but if da da, bring it back to the, but what if da da da. And then going back to the thing we started with at the beginning, the grind. taking that reason, the reason that's behind the goal, the motivation, the why. I call it your compelling reason, your compelling reason for why you want to reach that goal. So, like in other areas, like in weight loss, people might have a goal of losing 50 pounds. And their compelling reason might be that they want to be able to be physically active. So this was mine. I was working on losing a lot of weight. And when doing so, my compelling reason was I wanted to be able to hike. And specifically, this one hike that's always really challenging for me that I love to do, but I don't do it very much because um, or when I do it, it's a really difficult experience because I'm not in shape and I'm, heavier than I want to be. And so my reason behind my goal was this idea of these adventures, these physical adventures that I could go on in places that I love that I'm having difficulty doing right now. So what's your goal? Okay, your goal is to go pro, or your goal is to make state. And what's the reason behind it? Why do you want to hit that goal? And write that down somewhere. And when you're struggling to do the grind, when you're struggling to do the daily mental work, when you're struggling to do the thought work, when you're struggling to work on your emotions, when you're struggling to work on strength and conditioning and drills and basics, or take this, to another place. If you're a parent or a coach and you're struggling to do the daily, day-to-day work that you need to do to reach your goal, you're struggling to write the emails you need to write. You're struggling to get on the Zoom meetings, to do the phone calls, whatever it might be, the sales, the marketing, the operations work. You're just struggling to do the things in order to get to the goal. Get your compelling reason out and look at it and let that be a motivator. Like, in order to get to this thing that I want, I got to do the grind. I got to do the grind today. And if I do the grind, I get this. And look at the short term, look at the long term, and figure out that motivation to stick with the grind. So I hope that that is helpful to you today. And yeah, look forward to another coaching session in the future. If you want to be coached, if you want to actually be coached on goals, we are offering a free goal setting session. So we'll do 30 minutes where we look at the goal that you want to do and we make a plan. How are you going to get there? Just do the sign up now, the book me now, and you can sign up for a free goal setting session. And then we're happy to walk you through that process so that you can really begin to go after your dreams. All right. Have a great week, everyone. Bye.